You are now watching Believe. Do you believe?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Believe in Bears. My name is Joey Christopoulos. My co-host, Corey Wootton. Thank you so much for checking us out on YouTube. Comment and question below. And also, thank you for checking us out also on SiriusXM and TuneIn Radio. Believe in Bears. Continue to grow, getting bigger. We got a great show coming up for you in about 25 seconds. But first, we got to talk about that sponsor that you know and love. It's BetOnline.ag. It's the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, events with first-to-market odds and lines. You can find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your favorite sports information, from live in-game betting, props, to even futures. So what are you waiting for? Get on that mobile device, sign up today. You'll receive a 50% welcome bonus when you use the promo code BELIEVE50, BLEAV50 for BetOnline, where the game starts. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming into the pod. The Chicago Bears are 2-1. They're going up against the 2-1 New York Football Giants this Sunday in Week 4. One of those teams will walk out of it 3-1, and we're here to break it down with former Bears defensive end, Northwestern Wildcat, CHGO, Fox 32, and maybe a guy that grew up a little bit of a Giants fan. So we'll see how this goes this week. It's Corey Wootton. What's up, Corey?
What's going on, my man? It's another great weekly podcast, man. Excited to get things going. Talk a little bit about this last game, and then previewing forward towards the Giants. So yeah, it's my neck of the woods. I actually grew up a Cowboys fan, believe it or not. My dad was a diehard Cowboys fan. My grandfather as well, back to the Tony Dorsett days. So yeah, I grew up a Cowboys fan. I had the starter jacket, the hat. I was official.
The Bears weren't very good when I was growing up in the early 90s, so I used to moonlight as a 49ers fan. So we would have butted some heads way back in the day, Corey. But before we get to Corey's keys to a victory in Week 4, we make a final score prediction in this episode. Yeah, Corey, man, let's kind of go back a little bit and talk about the Bears' 23-20 victory over the Houston Texans in Week 3. And look, man, I'm happy to hear whatever your thoughts are on that game, and I want to kind of phrase it to you like this, where I think everybody this week, Chicago media, national media, Chicago fans, national fans, NFL fans, are just piling on Justin Fields this week, and it seems to take on this sort of existential narrative of, is Justin Fields any good? Does Luke Getsy trust Justin Fields? I kind of want to, if that's okay, I want to throw that out the window, Corey. It's area that's kind of been treaded over. It's only 3 weeks into the season, so I want to ask it to you like this. Corey, man, you got your pulse on the game all the time. You know the game inside and out. You've been doing this pod, and you've been right on so many different things. If you and Justin Fields were sitting in a room together right now, just the two of you, maybe watching film or maybe watching TV, as a guy who used to play in the NFL, two NFL players together, what would you say to Justin Fields right now? Because it's obvious that he's struggling. But, what would you impart upon him? Mental, physical, whatever that is. What would you tell Justin Fields right now?
I would tell him, just believe in yourself, right? This is what got you here. This is the reason why they traded up to get you, right? Because you were that dude in college, right? Not only the Bears, a lot of other teams saw that as well. I saw him many times. The thing is, you have to tap into that confidence, that same confidence you play with at Ohio State, right? That's the biggest thing right now. Because when you make the throws, everyone knows that you could play at a high level, right? It's some of these other decision-making and times where you don't seem as confident. So just tap into that confidence, right? Let it go, right? At the end of the day, you have to go out there and play ball, right? Your instincts and everything, that's what got you where you are today. So tap into that, right? 2-1 at this point, right? Things could be a lot worse right now, but hey, rely on your confidence. That's what got you here. Because that's the one area that he's shown that it's kind of been holding him back, because I think he can make every throw. I think Getsy and company just need to get his confidence up. That's the one key word this week that I'm looking for when I watch him, how he is out of the huddle, right? The confidence to make different checks, because you look at last week, right, when he got sacked on that boot, right? He should have saw that right away, that the guy's coming off the edge. He should have checked it to a run the other way. Stuff like that. And that's how I can tell he's not very confident, because something like that he would have checked in the preseason, because he felt confident, right? After 1 or 2 games of him not playing the best, we don't see that confidence. So if I were talking to him, I would just say, hey, man, let it go, right? Your mind is the most powerful thing in the NFL, right? That's the difference for guys that make it and don't. Guys that are Pro Bowlers and guys that are career backups is their confidence, right? Because Justin Fields has all the tools. You know, sometimes there's a quarterback that's picked in the first round just because there's a need. No, he's a first round talent either way. So my thing is just get your confidence up, rely on what got you here. You know, get back to the basics, get back to the fundamentals, and have fun. Right? This is what this game is. That's the next thing I would say is have fun. Right? Because this is a game. Obviously, we get paid a lot of money for it, and you know the fans care and this, that, and the other. But what got you here is your love of the game, right? Or else you wouldn't have been a first round pick. You know, they at the combine and talking with you in the interview process, they want to know that you love football. You do love football, right? But you got to have fun with it, right? Because you got to take it serious, but you can't take it too serious. You understand what my drift is, man?
No,
You
yeah,
know?
no, totally, man. And look, Corey, dude, you're such a good dude. So I'm gonna say it because you're not ready to like. You said it, but you didn't really say it, dude. Justin Fields has been terrible the last 2 games. I mean, truly, like, if we want to have a standard, and we've seen him play, like, we've seen enough games to know that this is not the standard that Justin Fields' career is going to play out to be. The last 2 games, he's just been terrible, right? And I'm with you, man. The mental is bleeding to the physical. And he is so physically gifted that I think his mind right now is maybe holding him back a little bit. I mean, man, that throw to Darnell Mooney, that bomb that was just 20 yards over and to the right, that's just so uncharacteristic of him. So there's something else. It isn't a lack of ability. It isn't the fact that he can't make it. And this whole is Justin Fields the real deal? Is he any good question that's going on through Chicago right now? It's understandable, but I think it's completely overplayed right now. And people just need to calm down because everyone's picking which wagon they want to get on, right? The wagon of, I called it first, Justin Fields is no good, or the wagon of, hey, let's hang on here, he's still going to be a superstar. Why don't we just get off the wagons and watch the dude play before we get on to something right now? And I completely agree with you. He has to get back to, I think, that swagger that we saw in the Steelers game. Some of those throws that he made against the Detroit Lions last year. I mean, that's in there. It's possible. It's all out there for him. So wait, follow up real quick, Corey. You mentioned that boot kind of that he didn't recognize that boot play right there last week. So what is it? What type of plays would you like to see Luke Getsy and them try and run besides obviously establishing the run, which I'm sure we'll get to in Corey's keys, what kind of throws do you want to see Justin Fields make early? Do you think are going to be perfect confidence builders?
So I'm fine with some gun passes, right? But I think it has to be the intermediate and the dink and dunk, like the typical Patriots type of throws, right? The Tom Brady and company. And look at all the players for the Patriots that did well. Jacoby Brissett, Matt Castle, Jimmy Garoppolo, right? They put people in a position to succeed, right? And Tom Brady is Tom Brady because of that Patriot system early on. And people could say whatever they want, but Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick for a reason, right? He was slated to be a career backup. You know what I mean? Drew Bledsoe was the guy in the Patriots, right? He ended up getting hurt and whatnot. But this system was so friendly for a guy like Tom Brady. Because if you look at Drew Bledsoe had a cannon of an arm. That offense wasn't for him, those dink and dunks. So I think that's telling you everything you need to know. They need to start out with some of these intermediate, these short throws just to get his confidence up, right?
What about a slant route? Am I being like too Madden about it? Like, just a quick stick and slant. You know what I mean? With Darnell Mooney. That's what Jimmy Garoppolo does. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly.
Or that quick little 4-step to the rollout on the right. Just hit that little Allen Robinson 7-yarder that they hit all year last year. Stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
or a little seam, exploiting that zone coverage, the Cole Kmet and company. I think that's the biggest thing now. And the key is for a young quarterback. I think people are just saying, oh, quarterbacks are cursed, this, that, and the other. But I feel like, Luke Getsy just has to get the game plan for him. We have to start it out with a little bit more run, right? Really, really hammer that run game, right? And then let's open up some play action, right? Doesn't always have to be a boot or a naked. We get some sprint outs, but it's the short throws that are getting confidence builder, right? I always take this back at basketball, right? You hit a couple layups first, if your 3-pointers not there, right? Then you go up to a 12-footer, then you go to a 15-footer, 18-footer, and then all of a sudden you get that confidence, and then you're behind the 3-point line, and all of a sudden you're draining them, right? And you're back to that confident shooter again. So it's like you got to build steps up to that, right? And right now, let's pump the brakes on these long throws unless it's a shot, right? But let's get his confidence up early on. So I think that's the key for him because you look at quarterbacks in this league, and I don't think people realize Josh Allen. You look at his stats through 13 games, and Justin Fields, they are very similar, right? Justin Fields has a few more interceptions, but Josh Allen, a lot of people weren't sold on him, right? A lot of people were doubting if he was the pick that they should have gone with. And look how it turned out for him. But the key is now, right? He's playing, right? He's playing. He's letting the game come to him. Justin Fields is trying to make things happen, right? He's trying to make something out of nothing, and that's why you got to pump the brakes, right? Hey, take the throws that are there. If it's not there, tuck it and go, or throw it out. That's all we have to do at this point. These plays will come, and that's what you understand. The guys like Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, they take what the defense is giving them. Just like Aaron Rodgers in the game against the Bears, right? I know he wanted to throw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, but what did he do? He took what the defense gave him. Hey, let's rely on this running game, and I'll complete some balls when I need to. And he actually played a very efficient game, but for him, that wasn't a good game. But the thing is, you have to do what the defense is giving you. So if Justin Fields completes 12 out of 15, and Khalil Herbert and David Montgomery are beasts at running the football, and we're moving the ball, and he's efficient, and hey, we have more rushing touchdowns, and he doesn't have any passing, but we win the game, and he looks good in those throws, that's progress right there, right? That's the key. We just have to keep stacking performances like this. And Justin Fields, just pump the brakes, man. We don't have to make these crazy plays and these long throws. I know the competitor in him wants to throw for 300, 400, 500 yards. But back when we first started this podcast before the season, what did I say? He's going to be a lot like Cam Newton, right? Yeah. That 190 to 230 range, right? With a touchdown here or there, maybe a touchdown rushing, but very efficient, not turning over the football and being a great leader out there. So that's the key. That's where I want to see him grow. Not try to do too much, because we don't need to at this point. We have such a great run game that it can take the pressure off.
Yeah, look, I'm with you. In regards to Josh Allen, really quick, too, as well, just to point out, when they got Stephon Diggs, his career also turned around, too, as well. That's something to just keep in mind when we're comparing those numbers. You do eventually will need, an elevated talent pool of playmakers eventually for the Chicago Bears moving forward. And look, I'm right there with you. I know a lot of people, we're on the side of, I think, that 190, 200 yards, my vision of Justin Fields was maybe not someone that was lighting it up through the air, but was making throws when they count, making backbreaker playmaking plays down the field. That's something that I think we can easily get back to and still play off the running game. And I know a lot of people like to talk about the development of Justin Fields, but also, what else helps developing a quarterback? Winning games. You know what I mean? Like, you can have, we've been winning these games so far. If you keep winning games in this particular fashion, I still think you're also developing the quarterback at the same time. Corey, I think it's time, man. Let's move it forward a little bit.
Real quick before you get on this, I just got a quick thing to point out, right? I think we were both thinking Darnell Mooney was ready for that number 1 role, but I think we were mistaken a little bit about him being ready to take on that number 1 receiver role, and I think we slept on how important Allen Robinson was there last year, right? And just him garnering that attention, right? Mm-hmm. For guys over the top, that safety help. And that allowed Mooney to really exploit the defense. So I think it's tough too, without a true number 1. We thought Mooney was ready for that role, right? But I think it's proving more so that maybe he is, a really good number 2. But I don't know if he's ready for that number 1 role yet. So that's something that we could point out. It's hard to play, without a number 1 unless you're Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers is making those guys look good. He's winning games. He is one of the best to do it. But a young guy in Justin Fields not having a true number 1, it's definitely tough sledding.
Well, and Corey, to be honest with you, man, you felt like you were interjecting, but honestly, you're leading right into, I'm going to open it up with maybe one of my keys, and then we'll dive into Corey's keys to the game, because, I think what we're noticing a little bit is, the running game is being established. Our offensive line is doing a great job running the ball. A lot of people have polarizing opinions on how they're doing in pass pro, but you are noticing that Cole Kmet is having some responsibility along the line of scrimmage, where we can't just let him run routes in the slot all day long and catch passes. So Corey, man, if I open it up, I think one of the keys to a Week 4 win is I kind of like what I'm seeing from EQ Brown right now. I'll be honest with you, man. The guy's made a couple of plays. I'm not saying he's getting volume touches here right now, but one way to maybe scheme open Darnell Mooney is to try and figure out a way to have a solid, dependable, complementary piece across the field from him. Byron Pringle's going on the IR. We're not going to see him for a little while. Still not going to see N'Keal Harry for a little while. I don't think Velus Jones is ready to play that role. So who is it? I kind of like EQ St. Brown's size so far. They're using him on end arounds. It seems like in the first quarter, in the first 15, they've been able to scheme him open a little bit. And I think if we can somehow figure out a way to get him the ball, I'm not saying he's going to go for 100 yards. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you can get him in the 40 to 50 to 60-yard range, I think that is just enough to get Justin Fields going, just enough to maybe have them pay a little bit more attention and spring Darnell Mooney open a little bit. And, of course, I think that's going to help us win the game, man. That's one of my keys. Is I think he could be – I don't think he's the best wide receiver 2 in the world, but I think he's the best for the role in this offense right now.
And a great blocker, too, down the field. Really underrated at that. You see, through the first 3 weeks, he's down the field blocking. And, a lot of our wide receivers nowadays don't like the block. So it's great to see guys like him down the field, getting blockers, right? Because Cole Kmet missed on the screenplay. I think it was week 2 against the Packers. But, yeah, Brown has been all over the place blocking. So it's great to see that. And that goes into my key offensively, right? Is get the running game going, right? That's something that we must do at each and every game, right? That's the strength of this team right now. You look at the old line and what they're doing really well, right? They're really some road graders right now. You look at Tevin Jenkins and company, Braxton Jones, Cody Whitehair, Borum. They're really good at the run blocking right now. And I guess we'll see what David Montgomery's kind of day to day now, but Khalil Herbert, I mean, you know how I feel about him, man. He's in my opinion one of the most underrated guys in the game right now. All he does is put up yards per carry, and he shows out in every game, even from last year, right when he filled in for Montgomery. I mean, his yards per carry are at least 6 yards a pop. For combining last year to this year. So he's got a different level of juice. He breaks tackles. He can run outside the box. He can run inside the box. So
and he can
really
hit a home run,
running.
Corey. He's a home run hitter.
Exactly. He's got honestly, the speed.
I love Montgomery, but that's the main difference between him and Herbert is the dude can hit the home run, and the Bears offense needs that.
And we can make an argument. I know a lot of people get up in arms about it, but I think he is a better runner, right? I'm not talking about an overall back, right? Because I think David Montgomery is a better overall back, right? When you talk about blocking, when you talk about catching the ball in the backfield, but strictly runner, right? You could make an argument for Khalil Herbert, in my opinion. So I think they just need to get that going. But the Giants' defensive line, front seven, they've been playing the run pretty tough this year. So it's gonna be a tough matchup. Because I think if we can establish that run early on, we can open up things.
Corey, I'm right there with you. I think both sides of the football. I think the Giants, I think they're going to be feeding the ball to Saquon Barkley, and on our end, I think we're going to be giving the ball to Khalil Herbert. We're taping this on a Wednesday night right now. I'll be honest with you. I don't see David Montgomery playing this week. If he can avoid an IR stint, I think that's fantastic because, David Montgomery, he's going to try and come back the week after or the week after that. So hopefully he's back a little bit soon. And Corey, man, that is our bread and butter right now. That's how we're scoring points is running the football. So I'm right there with you. Give us another Corey's key. What's another key to a Bears victory in week 4?
So defensively, stop the run, right? They're going to try to get Saquon Barkley going, right?
We did better. Saquon Barkley, I love that. We did better last week, though, right? I think there was a concerted effort on execution-wise, Bears-wise. They did a little bit better, correct?
They did a little bit better, but the thing is, the reason why is because they started giving Rex Burkhead the ball, which I didn't understand because Pierce was really gouging us. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, whoa. He's kind of your Swiss Army guy, but he's a Swiss Army guy. He's the guy that'll come in, in a sweep, catch the ball in the backfield, things like that. But Pierce was really gashing us early on.
That spin move. Whoa.
Those exactly. Yeah. So we need to shore up this run game because if not, it's really going to hurt us down the stretch. Especially if we can get things going offensively and Justin Fields becomes a better passer, especially we're really going to have to be able to stop the run because teams are going to have that same Green Bay plan where they're going to try to run the ball, time of possession, control things, keep the offense off the field. So we must stop the run. And that's the most surprising thing for me under Eberflus, right? Attention to detail, hits. We're going to be a disciplined team. We're going to stop the run. And we haven't been able to do that, and a guy that really haven't seen much, and I had high hopes for him. Al-Qadim Muhammad, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's kind of been non-existent in these first 3 games, and I know it's a long season. Hopefully, he can snap out of whatever's going on because he had a really good preseason. We just don't see the rush production. Playing the run hasn't been that great as well. So really need him to step up. We've seen Travis Gibson, Robert Quinn at times, but as a whole, the defensive line needs to get more pressure. Like we haven't had consistent pressure. When Davis Mills is able to have all day out there, that's I know we're going against Laramie Tunsil, who's a talented left tackle, one of the better ones in the league. But hey, Robert Quinn, right? You're coming off a great year. These are 2 back-to-back ones you kind of struggled against, right? Trent Williams, one of the best, struggled against him, and then Laramie Tunsil. So whatever you got to do, if you got to work some games, you got to work something different. You got to work some moves. Like you got to get something going. Especially we are one of the better pass rushers in the league. You got to get things going. And be that anchor out there.
And Corey, based on your keys to a victory here in Week 4, it kind of dovetails into one of my keys a little bit. I just keep thinking about there's all this pressure on Justin Fields right now. Everyone wants him to throw the rock all around the yard, and I'll be honest with you. Temper your expectations for this week, Bears fans, because in my opinion, on the road versus Daniel Jones, just know your opponent and know what your expectations are. Justin Fields needs to protect the football. I think whichever quarterback turns the ball over the least probably wins this game, and I think it will be incumbent on Justin Fields to try and protect the football at all costs, because I'm with you, man. I like Robert Quinn with a strip sack against Daniel Jones. I mean, the guys had problems holding on to the football in the past, even if they are doing with the run-heavy outfit. I think it's going to be whoever makes mistakes less with the quarterback position probably wins this game and goes 3-1.
Yeah, that was my other key: win the turnover battle, right? And that comes down to the quarterback position. I think obviously the other positions, running back, wide receiver, tight end, if they have the ball, hold on to it. But Justin Fields, I want to see growth from you. I want to see if the read is not there, hey, tuck it and go, throw it out of bounds, throw it to only where your receiver can get it, right? And let's get some growth and some progress there, because that's the main thing holding him back right now. I think he's trying to do too much. So relax, right? Pump the brakes a little bit. Let's not try to do too much right now. Let's take what the defense is giving us. That's an old expression, as old as football, old as time, right?
Yeah.
Take what the defense is giving you, right? Don't try to be too cute. Don't try to make these crazy plays. Let the game come to you, right? And that's the biggest thing. You could talk to anybody out there that's had a monster game, any position, and when they talk about what happened, they were just like, "Hey, I just executed the plan. I let the game come to me." Right? That's usually what people say. So Justin Fields, let the game come to you, and then everything will open up, right? But when you're pressing too hard, you could tell, right? You ever want something so much, you're like, I need this. You're working towards it, and then it doesn't happen, right? And then when you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep working, and whatever happens, happens. And all of a sudden, you get that thing, right?
You mean the way Bears fans have felt about their quarterback for, I don't know, the last 40 years, perhaps, of like, I want it so badly.
Yeah.
And they get into one little moment, one bump in the road with Justin Fields, and they're like a person who's only been dating someone for 2 weeks, and they're like, is this the right person for me? We just had a fight. We had a fight. I think we need to break up right now. And it's like,
exactly.
Let's sit down, young sir. Like, we've been at this for a long time. You got to have some patience.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is he just needs to lower his expectations. I think he's expecting in his head, he hasn't said this, but I could kind of, guess that he's probably like, I need to light it up. I need to do this. I need to do that. And the thing is, as a young guy, right, just let things come to you. Let the game come to you. Let the defense dictate what you're going to do, right? And you take what the defense gives you. That's the biggest thing. And you see it throughout the league, right? Different quarterbacks, different offensive coordinators, right? They try to do too much, right? Just game plan, right? You have a game plan when you start the game, right? And it's usually been good for the Bears, especially the past 2 weeks, right? And then they change off of that, right? After the first drive, second drive, that defense changes. Yeah. And let's make adjustments to that, right? The guy up in the box, Getsy and company, right? We're going to be getting some of the calls and whatnot, and we'll be able to see what's going on. Then let's make our plans off of that. So that's the biggest thing for me. Is just relax, let the game come to you. Don't try to do too much. And I guarantee you, if he can do that, we'll see him get more confidence. We'll see his play improve. And hey, it's not going to be 400 yards tomorrow, but hey,
No,
by the end of the
back
season, we could
back to
see.
basics. Back to basics. Maybe win the football game, and I think you have a lot to build off of, and I think you have a
Exactly.
lot to hang your head high on. Corey, man, are you ready for final score?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You want to go first, Wootsterdamus? You want to go
Yeah,
first this week?
I'll go first. I'll go first, man. I'm gonna say 24-17 Bears, right?
Ooh,
And
okay.
and I think this is one, especially without the Giants' best receiver Sterling Shepard right now. Unfortunately, he had that ACL injury, which is unfortunate. But they've really struggled to pass the ball, just kind of like us. But and then you take away their best receiver. I'm hoping the Bears stop the run this week, because I think if you can stop the run and put the pressure on Daniel Jones, Robert Quinn and company, they should have 6 sacks. He's been sacked 13 times this year in 3 games. So their O line is struggling. So if we could stop the run against Saquon Barkley, I really believe this is a game where we can get the confidence up defensively to know that we can generate that type of pressure. And I'm hoping it's that confidence building game for Justin Fields, right? At this point where, hey, we're 2-1 at this point, and it hasn't looked pretty at all, right? To be honest, he's played terrible, just like you said. And
It's
I
just
think he
true.
has all the talent. I think he has all the tools. I think he's pressing too hard. He's trying to make too much happen, right? Take what the defense gives you. Allow the plays to come to you. That's the biggest thing. And be an athlete, right? That's why the Bears
Mm.
draft you. Because when you are a playmaker out there, like in that first week, the second half of the 49ers game, he made things happen, right? It wasn't pretty, it wasn't this, but that's Justin Fields #1, baby. You're a playmaker out there. You use your feet. You allow the plays to happen, right? You take your reads, just like with the Pettis, right? Everyone said, "Well, it was a lucky play." No, that was the last read on there. That shows that he went through the progression out there. He made things happen with his feet, and they threw it down the field for a touchdown. That's when he got the confidence. So he's going to need that one play in the Giants game just to get him going, right?
Yep.
It's just like in golf, right? When you hit that first drive right down the middle, you all of a sudden you got that
Let's
confidence
do
up,
it
right?
again.
Then you feel
Yeah.
invincible.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. We need just a little chip shot out there for him, right? A couple intermediate dink and dunk throws to get him going, right? He doesn't have to light it up. Rely on the running game. Take what the defense gives you. That's why I think 24-17. I'm hoping the Bears stop the run. Hope Justin Fields gets things going. And I don't expect a lights out game, right? Just confidence building throws, making good decisions. That's all I want to see from him. I don't care about the numbers. It's just quality over the quantity.
Yeah, I think this is a back to basics, fundamentally sound game as well for hopefully the Chicago Bears. And look, man, I'm with you, man. It's funny that I think everyone wants the world for him, right? And I'm with you on that. But you know what, man? You can honestly, Justin Fields can turn his season around literally on a 3rd and 7. You know what I mean? Just stay in the pocket, deliver a pass with conviction, with confidence, complete it in the first quarter. And that literally doesn't sound sexy, isn't going to end up on ESPN, but that literally can turn his entire season around. Corey, man, we both did. I predicted 31 points last week for the Chicago Bears. You know what? I'm an excited man, and I'm an excitable person. But you know what? Obviously, we're learning a little bit about just where Justin Fields is right now and where he needs to get back into that groove, into that rhythm, into that confidence that you talked about. And I think I'm calling. We did it in the preseason. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to say Chicago Bears win in this game. I'm going Chicago Bears win 17-13 over the New York Giants this week in Week 4. And here's what it is. It's going to look a lot the same, right? I think we're going to get 120 to 150 rushing yards on the ground. I think Justin Fields' total yards will probably still be in that 140 to 160 area. Maybe 30 or 40 of them is going to be rushing yards. But you know what? Here's going to be the difference. The difference is when he goes to the podium in the post-game press conference, and we're going to be, because all year long now, we've been talking about the pass attempts or their lack thereof, the passing yards or the lack thereof. He can at least go up to that post-game press conference knowing that he played a solid football game, didn't turn the ball over, and he can turn to everyone and say, you know what, right now we're 3-1. And that's what matters right now. I'm not saying the Chicago Bears win the Super Bowl, but inside that room and Justin Fields as a leader to be 3-1, I think that means a little bit more than I threw for 285 yards right now and I helped Charles's fantasy team win in Week 4.
Yeah.
I just think that's what matters right now, and I do like an opportunistic, fast Bears defense that might not be the most disciplined bunch in the world right now. I do like that matchup versus Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones, couple fumbles, couple coughed up fumbles, even maybe possibly in the red zone, that kind of helps us turn the tides a little bit. So I'm going Bears 17-13. Not going to be pretty. Going to be a win. I think brighter days are still ahead. I just don't think it's quite there. I think it's about getting back to the fundamentals this week for the Chicago Bears offense.
I agree with you, right? Decision making, defensively stopping the run. I think those are the two keys, because if we can improve on those, I think the Bears can start stacking some wins. I'm not saying they're winning the Super Bowl by any means,
Yep.
but I think the coaching, them buying into it, is going to keep them in a lot of games and give them a chance to compete for a win. So this is a very winnable game, and I think as you go on, the Bears schedule in general, right, is not the toughest, right? They have one of the weakest schedules in terms of rankings and what power rankings and whatnot. So these are some winnable games. And at this point, I think we both had them at 2-1 coming into this game, and then after this game at 3-1. So hopefully our predictions will be right, and they'll go into next week 3-1. But that's all we want to see, is this growth. That's from week to week, just getting better.
And Corey, just before we sign off, one more thing real quick. You're bringing up such a great point where I know that we all want to freak out about our future franchise quarterback, hopefully, and the star quarterback that the Chicago Bears fans have never had. But, man, yeah, you're right, man. Look at that schedule. There's time, Bears fans. There's time. They play the Commanders coming up. They got a game against Minnesota. I mean, there's time to get the offense right. There's time for Justin Fields to get his confidence going. There's time to kind of correct all this types of stuff. I mean, we've got games on the schedule later this year that are, let's be honest, they're just going to be tough, right? They're playing the Dolphins. They got a game against the Bills, the Eagles later this year. They got to play the Packers again. I mean, it's going to be some tough games coming up. But these next 4 or 5 games, I think we play the Commanders after this. We play the Patriots on Monday night. They might be down their starting quarterback. There are opportunities to get this thing moving in the right direction. I do want to preach patience. I agree that Justin Fields has not played well. I'm not saying that any other way. He has not. But if we can sort of stick with him a little bit, like your analogy, I'm a baseball guy. He's in a 2-for-12 slump. He's just got to hit the ball hard a couple of times to get that feeling back. And like you said, if you're not hitting your jumper, drive to the hole, Justin Fields. Get some fouls, get to the free throw line, start feeling good again a little bit. And I think that can happen this week.
Exactly. Looking forward to it. It's going to be another great week of football. I mean, it's there's something else when the football season is back, right? Like we just look forward for that weekend, right? For college football is like the preview before NFL Sunday, where the real action happens. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So another great pod again, man. Looking forward to breaking it down, and hopefully a Bears win and talking about maybe the improvements of Justin Fields. I think that's the biggest thing that we're going to keep in mind. And as well as the defensive line in particular, stopping the run and the pressure. That's what I want to look for this week, and hopefully all of that will be better.
Believe in Bears here isn't so much about hot takes, but we're actually about objectively telling you what you're most likely going to see on Sundays. My 31-point prediction last week aside. Thank you so much for checking out this pod. The episode was presented by BetOnline.ag. 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit when you use promo code BLEAV50, BLEAV50. Follow me at Joey Sports Guy. Follow Corey at Corey Wootton. Man, Corey Wootton, no matter what you're doing, if you're not following him on Twitter, there's something wrong with you. And second of all, you got to check out all the fantastic work he's doing with CHGO. He's going to be breaking it down for you guys every single Sunday, halftime, postgame. They do previews, all that good kinds of stuff. He's doing Bruin views in Fox 32. So if you're in Chicago listening to this, I don't know, get out the Corey Wootton app. Get out the Woot app and try and figure out where he's going to be this week, unless he wants to tell us possibly. Come drink some cold beverages with Corey and watch the Bears game. Great stuff, man. Great to see you. Any final thoughts? But other than that, let's take us home and let's bear down.
Yeah, no, man. It's just another great opportunity, right, for the Bears to improve, right? They've been pretty poor, in my opinion, through the first 3 weeks. It hasn't been great at all, right? It's been a lot of up and downs. But I think that the main thing, right, is whenever you don't have your best performance and you can still stack a few wins, I think that's a good sign of a well-coached team, right? They're buying into this, because in the past, a lot of these players seemed like maybe they would have gave up during certain games and certain situations. So I think it shows the heart of the team, right? When you're not performing well, you don't have your best showing, and you're still able to get wins like they did against San Francisco, like they did last week, right? It wasn't pretty, but you find a way to get it done. And I think that's That's a key to a good team, in this league. You look at teams around the league, whether they win, 12 games, 14 games. Hey, it's not always pretty, right? But you find a way to get it done, right? And that's the key. When the game's on the line, especially in that fourth quarter, how are you going to make adjustments in that second half and lead you to victory? So I'm looking forward to that. That's what it seems like. Every game, the Bears kind of start out, and then they finish the game. So that's what we're looking forward to. Even in the Green Bay game, right? If we had that touchdown where Justin Fields crossed, like we could be talking about it, right? They were close. Yep. So I think that's a mark of a well-coached team. It's just now we have to get to these little details, discipline. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, well said, Corey. And remember, Bears fans, remember what this season is about. And if you're going to be the type of fan that's going to go to the parking lot after a couple strikeouts in a row or whatever, go ahead and do that. But remember what we're walking into this season to do, to see this young team develop. Don't bail on them now. Hang in there, support them. You can be objective. You can be honest. When the team doesn't play well, tell them they don't play well. That is totally fine. But also remember what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get better every single week. And that's why Believe in Bears shows up every single week to try and figure out how they're going to do that. And hopefully a Bears victory in week 4, Corey.
That would be nice.
Safe, please. Yeah, that would be very nice. Everyone, be well, be safe. Please be good to each other. Thank you for checking us out on YouTube. Thank you for listening to us on SiriusXM. Thank you for listening to us on TuneIn. And remember, Bear down this week. We'll see you next week, hopefully, with the 3-1 Bears.
Bear down.
The best 3-1s. Oh, that was some bass.
Put a little bit in there.